Namaste.
Namaste.
Okay. So we'll begin today from chapter 2.58. So will you read the verse?
यदा संहरते चायं कूर्मोऽङ्गानीव सर्वशः इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता.
Yeah. So he says, when like a tortoise that draws in its limbs from all directions, he withdraws all his senses from the sense objects, his mind becomes steady. So the main thing over here, in the previous two verses, he spoke about being balanced in pain and pleasure, not hankering after pleasure, and being steady in sorrow. But now he says that you should have to withdraw your senses. Now, how does one withdraw the senses? So for that, one has to withdraw the mind. So the senses can be controlled only if the mind is withdrawn. And how does the mind get withdrawn? So we go back to all the previous verses of the Gita, which tell you that when you develop this understanding that the material world is not real and that the soul, the Purusha, the Atman, the consciousness, that is the real, then it's easier to control the mind and subsequently it's easier to control the senses. So we have to go on. It may be a theory at this moment, but we have to go on repeating, contemplating, reflecting on this principle or this concept of life, that the Purusha is real, the Atman is real, the consciousness is real, and all else is unreal. The material world is unreal. So this is the main crux of this verse, where it tells you that use your senses, but with discrimination. Don't indulge too much in the material world, because the material world can't take you anywhere. It's unreal. So put your mind on the consciousness, on the absolute, because that is the real thing. So any comments or any questions?
Hey, Ashaji, last week you had told us about what Dr. Jaydev used to tell, that when you start the day, you note one particular emotion and observe how it arises. So I had said last week that I will observe anger. Now, in the context of this verse, I want to share that experience. Now, somebody said that there is a particular educational institution that wants donations. So, for something, for some equipment. So, I approached my friends and they agreed. And then they said, you give us the account details and we will transfer. So I went back to the institution and said, you give me the account number, etc. Then they said, we are a government institution, so we have to find out from where, in which account we can accept donations. Now it is last 10 days and they are still finding out. So I got rather upset with them. But I didn't say anything because you had said you observe. Now you are saying that you withdraw the mind. So I have already approached my friends. They are already willing to give the donation. But these people are still finding out. Now, in my mind, several things arose. I thought, maybe they are playing some game. These educational institution people are playing some game. Or maybe the accountant is playing the game. He doesn't want donation. Or there is some internal rivalry. So, but there was a lot of annoyance in my mind, and I said to myself All these things I have said to myself. I have not spoken to them. I have not expressed my annoyance or irritation. That I am saying that your institution is not developed because of these reasons only, because you are not ready to open yourself to the world. So now that annoyance is there. Now I have expressed it here. I have expressed it here.
Good.
But I told my wife that this is what is happening. I shared it with my wife.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now you are saying, now what should I do?
Okay. So now, so well, the mind is going to run. The mind is going to run. It's never going to remain idle, right? You've heard, the census have heard about this. They didn't give you the bank details. And the mind is definitely going to run because now it has a lot of food for thought. Why did they do this? Why did they do that? But the point is that the material world is like that. Everywhere there is some thing which is not okay. Everywhere. It is like that. Gadbad. Everywhere. So just we have to keep the mind at rest. You observe silently. It's okay that the mind runs. Observe and then come. Okay. Let me give you an example of, not example, an anecdote from Sri Ramakrishna's life. So Sri Ramakrishna Paramhans, one man goes to him and he tells him, "Sir, can you just give me in one sentence, one message, so that I can get illumined?" So Sri Ramakrishna says, "The absolute is real and this universe is unreal. Realize that and then sit silent." The silencing of the mind will not happen unless you force it. We are going to come to this also in the next verses. So, well, you went through an experience, you observed everything, the mind started running, and now you have to wait. You have to wait till some conclusion comes about from the other end. So, okay, these are the ways of the world. We have to accept them. डॉक्टर साहब ने एक बार हमें होमवर्क दिया था, ऐसा भी होता है. एक महीने का होमवर्क था. For 1 month we just had to go on telling ourselves ऐसा भी होता है, ऐसा भी होता है. So every first Sunday of the month we would get a homework, and that would run for the whole month, and we had to just um, think about it and share with him after 1 month. But we had a small group, and in that group we used to share it every Sunday. Every
Okay.
Sunday, हाँ. So all of us used to share our thoughts. And अभी डॉक्टर साहब नहीं रहे हैं, so we've started it again. And मेरे पास सब लिखा हुआ पड़ा है homework. So I'm the one who's given the homework to the class. And so we still have that meeting every Thursday now.
Okay.
So one of the homeworks was ऐसा भी होता है. तो ये
So,
होता है, दुनिया में ऐसे होता है. So the mind has to be at rest.
So this is a very interesting thing. I would request you to kindly share it with us also, that homework.
Oh my goodness.
ऐसा भी
Okay.
होता है. I will now follow ऐसा भी होता है for the next 1 month. Next
हाँ,
1
अभी
month.
ये अभी जो मैं कर रही हूँ, we are going back to 2008. I don't know when this homework has come about, so I'll have to open all the books from 2008 and check. So when it comes about, if I'm able to get hold of it, I will give you, and I will also tell you what Dr. Saab said at the end of that 1 month.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you.
Yeah. So this is what this verse is saying, that this material world is definitely going to change, and keep your mind steady. And the one who has done it, his wisdom is steady. The one who has controlled his mind and senses, his wisdom is steady. So, shall we go on to the next verse? If there are no comments or questions, please.
Yeah.
ठीक है? Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Sir, 2.59.
Yeah. विषया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिनः रसवर्जं रसोप्यस्य param drishtva nivartate.
So he says that when you have sense objects turn away from him who does not enjoy them with his senses, but the taste for them lingers on or persists. This relish also disappears in the case of the man of stable mind when he realizes the supreme. So he's over here, this verse means that when you have strongly decided that I'm not going to indulge, then initially that thing will be there, the longing will be there. If you've tasted something, naturally the longing is there. But if your mind is firm, determined that I do not want to indulge in this, then that attraction goes away, that taste goes away, that relish goes away. So it's basically the determination of the mind. So again, from the Mahabharata, we have that anecdote of sage Vishwamitra. So Menaka comes in front of him and he melts, and then it happens. Now he's with Menaka, but after that he realizes his folly, he realizes his mistake, and then he takes a firm decision. Come what may, I'm going to stick to my austerities. And then the another Apsara comes, Rambha. And then when she comes, he curses her, in fact, and he just turns away from her. So it's the determination which matters. And that determination is possible. That much choice the human being has. That you continuously persist, you continuously remind yourself that this is what I want in life, this is what is my goal, and no other distraction can come in the way. It's possible. It's possible for people who have diabetes, for people who have heart problems. They suddenly decide, okay, I will go for a walk, they continue. We have many examples of people who have given up some kind of foods and never touched them again in their life. So it's a matter of decision that I do not want to indulge in these things. So, any comments? सुनील जी, आपको कुछ कहना है?
बस वही बार बार मैंने जो मैसेज आ रहा है कि बात बुद्धि की है,
हाँ,
एक कंक्लूजन तक पहुंचे,
या
और बस वंस यू रीच द कंक्लूजन लाइक द जापानीज, फिर आप लग जाइए उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करने में, कम रेन थंडर सनशाइन, राइट? सो आई थिंक दैट्स द वे टू गो आल्सो इन these matters.
Yeah.
कि पूरा चिंतन मनन सारा करके,
Yeah.
but reach a,
yeah, take your time to reach a decision, but once you've reached a decision, then well. So this is what happened with Arjun. They took time to reach to a decision. It's not that the war happened at the spur of the moment. A lot of thinking, planning had gone into the war. And then at the last moment, he says, I don't want to fight the war. So that decision, of course, you can revoke the decision, but you have to spend a lot of time thinking from all perspectives. And then once you've decided, you have to go ahead. Okay.
So last week, in Sabir Bhai's session, he had talked about turning the apana upward, and thereby, you become nirahar. You reduce your your appetite slowly goes away.
Yeah.
So that connection I saw here. That Vishya Vinivartante.
Yeah, Vishya Vinivartante. Yeah.
And the second thing here is, I think, introducing the whole idea that Param Drishtva, that means realizing the Supreme.
Correct.
That was not talked about earlier in this chapter, but it is coming now. Param Drishtva Nivartate.
Yeah.
So there is something para, beyond the senses.
Yeah. So the goal has to be higher. See, the distractions will come, but if your mind is fixed on the goal, then, so now the goal can be anything. Of course, here it's a param, it's a supreme, but now at the moment, we are okay, it will be good to study, but at the moment in our day-to-day life, whatever is supreme, whatever is better, how is it that we can make ourselves better than what we are? That's also param. And slowly, slowly, you inch forward to a better and better state, leading to the highest state. But you begin from where you are. So that's why I've not really dwelt on that. But
Okay,
yes, yeah.
right.
So 2.60.
Right. यततो ह्यपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इन्द्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि हरन्ति प्रसभं मनः.
Yeah. So it says that turbulent by nature, the senses of even a wise man who's practicing self control forcibly carry away his mind. So basically, to keep the mind steady is a very, very challenging job. Even the wisest man comes under its sway. It's not an easy job, it is a very, very challenging job. But the one who's determined can do it. So, what does one do? डॉक्टर साहब ने तब कहा था कि one has to make an arrangement to see that the mind remains steady. How is it that the mind remains steady? So maybe this is one kind of an arrangement where we meet every Sunday, we discuss, we go back with certain thoughts, and a certain amount, a small amount of control comes in. So these are some kinds of discipline. Or you join a class where you do yoga regularly, or you join something which is a kind of a routine, or you pray every day in the morning, or you decide a time during the day in the morning after a bath, or sometime during the day or at night that you will sit down and pray. So these kinds of arrangements which we make around us, they slowly, slowly make the mind stronger. They do have a impact on the mind. It may be a small impact, but it builds up. And then finally, it comes to a stage where one has a strong determination. So, like the previous verse says, the longing goes away. You're not really interested in the trivials. Finally, for you, it's the mind is on a higher plane. Now, when we are studying all this during the week, then we are not interested in the small things of life. Maybe you want to take out time to study, to reflect, and then automatically the lower things go away. So, this is how we can understand this verse, that it is not easy, it is a challenging job, but through regular practice, abhyas, we can slowly have some kind of a control on the mind.
Yeah. So there's a process of displacement. When you taste something higher, you're able to let go of the lower, very easily. And there's also principle, incidentally, that is used in the addiction. Right? We are, addicted to whatever substance. Right? It's displaced by something less harmful. So, and little by little, and then you arrive at a place where at the end of it, you're
Right.
done.
Yeah.
So I think that of
Yeah.
fixing your mind to something higher so that you let go of the previous and then the next
Yeah.
higher, the next higher. Like
Right.
in a mountain, you reach one and then you leave the slope. So,
Yeah, it's a natural process. Like children will play with toys, then they need different toys, and then they need different things. So as you grow physically, also, your interest is different. So mentally, also, you grow. But now that growth you decide. See, as individuals who have studied or who've had the good fortune of meeting with the right people in life, then some kind of decisions have to be made at by oneself. We can't let ourselves lose. So, okay, so we'll go to the next verse.
तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्त आसीत मत्परः वशे हि यस्य इन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता.
So he says, therefore, having controlled all the senses and concentrating the mind, he should sit for meditation, devoting himself heart and soul to me. For he whose senses are under his control is known to have a stable mind. So we come back to the same thing, that it's not easy and the human being has to take a decision. Sometimes you, not sometimes, very often or all the time, you have to force your mind. You have to force your mind to do this initially. Then it becomes a habit, but the initial force is required. So he says, you direct your mind, keep it on me. Control your senses, sit for meditation. That means meditation is nothing but concentration. So whatever you've decided, concentrate on that. So very often in the yoga class, there are people who, see, at the institute, we teach very few asanas. When Dr. Saab was there, very few asanas, like a limited number of asanas were there. And sometimes people would get bored, कि आज कुछ अलग कराइए, or so Dr. Saab used to say it's a matter of discipline. Every day you pray. Do you change your prayer every day? Do you change the God you pray to every day? So there are some things which you continue. You have to force yourself. Like he would eat the same kind of food every day. Morning breakfast was same for years together. Lunch, of course, the vegetable was different. Evening, the same vegetable, subha ka and roti. And there was no other fourth thing in his menu. And the rest of the household would have some kind of a variety. But for him, it didn't matter. It was food. Like Mahendra Bhai gave the example of Buddha the other day. It's food. You have to eat it at a proper time. The timings were fixed. The food was fixed. The mind was not distracted by these things. And there was so much energy to do so many things. So it's a matter of decision. How much you want to discipline yourself. To what extent. In what areas. So all this thinking has to go on. Okay, so would you like to say something?
See,
Vashe hi yasya indriyani. Vasha means they are
Vash
in
mein
control.
control.
So it means that if my mind wants to listen to music, then only I will listen to music. Not when my ears want to listen, but when my mind wants to listen. Is that the meaning? Vashe hi yasya indriyani.
So, Vashehi, matlab, it's under control. You have to decide, right? The thing is that the time is important. Suppose you suddenly decide, I want to listen to music, and that's not the right time. So basically, the discrimination has to be there all the time. Your mind, your senses are attracted to some food. Your senses are attracted to some sound. Where is the control? And are you going to indulge? Is that the right time? Or if you have decided, okay, every day I will listen to music in the evening at say 5 o'clock to 5:30. But after 5:30, you feel, oh, it's so melodious. Let me listen to it a little more. So then that is not control.
That is not control.
Yeah.
Right.
You decide and then you abide by the decision. That is Vashehi Yasya Indriyani.
yeah, that's a very good example. Very true. Same thing with food.
Yeah.
Something is very tasty. You say, okay, let me have one extra chapati today.
Right. Yeah. 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 Dr. Saab wouldn't even talk so much. One day I had taken a cousin of mine because I had been talking so much to her about him. And she said, please, can I come and visit him? So I said, well, we'll go. And then when we went there, she spoke to him. And then suddenly he looked up at the clock. And then when she came back, she said, he's so disciplined. He just looked up at the clock. And that means I had to go. And even she was sensitive enough to understand. And then immediately we left. So he just looked at the clock. Bas ho gaya abhi. So How much time to give what? That's very important.
But there was a there was an anecdote of Yogacharya B.K. Iyengar Guruji. He was invited to some place for a marriage feast, and the jalebis were served, and he liked that jalebi very much. He said it's very well made, and I'm going to do justice to the jalebi.
Okay.
So he finished one plate full of jalebis.
Okay.
So the people asked him, sir, you are supposed to control your mind. You are supposed to control your senses, no? He says, yes, but my mind says you have to do justice now. To the
Okay.
person who has made the jalebi, you have to show.
Okay. So the reasons can be different, and each one has to decide the reason. What else can we say?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And actually, see, it depends on where the person has managed to reach in terms of
Right.
if Guruji Iyengar had that capacity, see, he may have at the back or at the fore, or the key thing was that he wanted to show appreciation for the person who may have, kind of made that. And that's always usually by consuming a great deal. Right? So maybe he had the capacity, nutritionally, digestively, to be able to manage that disturbance. Right? So we don't know, but from his other kind of activities, we know that he had tremendous control over especially certainly the body, and which therefore it also means that to some extent or large extent also the mind, because when the body is fidgety, the mind is fidgety, and vice versa. The mind is still, the body also you find is still. So sometimes when one has that capacity, one can act in a slight manner which to us ordinary folks we may not be able to appreciate. Right? So this happens a lot with many senior kind of people. They always do things which may not readily be discernible or kind of understandable by us folks, and we feel that they're departing.
Right.
I have a sense that 8 out of 10 times, it's not that the person is generally departing, it's just that he has the capacity to be able to adjust a certain situation. Yes, I mean, it certainly can happen.
You're right, Sunilji. He was 90. When he did this, he was in his 90s. And in a way, he also showed to his people that he had the capacity to digest. Yeah.
Correct.
So that is the point. And you're right. We sometimes get baffled and we draw wrong conclusions from their behavior. Yeah.
Yeah.
They have reached a certain stage, yes.
Yeah. So also the point that once you decide, then nothing should affect you. So the decision is ours, and it is Sri Ramakrishna also says that one should not dwell too much into the personalities of others. If I have decided that this is okay for me, then I carry it out no matter what. And nothing else sways me from that decision. And we can't understand the ways of the great. We don't know. So this will be our intellectual assessment. Ye aisa hai, vaisa hai. But finally, there are certain things where we leave. I think if Dr. Saab would have been there, he would have said, okay, watch it and leave it. Observe it. Now, don't let it go on in your mind. Why did he do this? Why did he do that? I have decided this path. I follow it. So, anyway.
You had told us the story of King Janaka, no? King
Yes.
Janaka.
Yeah. Yes.
Sunilji had told.
Right.
Yeah. That he enjoyed the dance.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. But because the mind was fixed on the absolute,
Right.
That it really it came and went, or it would just come and went. It did not affect him, at the core. So, which is why, as Ashil, you're very right that it's not up to us folks to judge the ways of the elevated ones.
Yeah. True. And also, you see, every human being has something or the other in him which may not be perfect. And we cannot dwell on the imperfections of anybody because there is no human being who is born perfect. So that also could have been an answer to one day it was that why do these yogis smoke or use the hookah? So, well, we don't know. But okay, these are the things which are happening. But this is my life. This is the way I live it. Because if I go on dwelling, which is the next, I think we will discuss when we. Sir, can you read, please, the 2.62?
Yes. ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः सङ्गस्तेषूपजायते संगात् संजायते कामः कामात् क्रोधो विजायते.
Yeah. So it says the man dwelling on sense objects develops attachment for them. From attachment springs up desire. From desire ensues anger. So basically, it's the same thing. Like if I like jalebi and then I see somebody eating so much jalebi, and then I feel, yeah, your mind starts justifying. When you go on dwelling too much on these incidents of life, then the mind starts. And then what happens? The consequences are given.
Yeah. But
Desire
you're right.
comes.
I am attracted to say Iyengar's jalebi example because I want to eat jalebi. And I am
Right.
looking for some justification.
True. So you will
Yeah.
find such people in your life who are great and who are indulging in this. And then you will say, yeah, it's right for me also to do it. So, for example, if I like smoking, I will say the yogis used to smoke, so it's permissible. So it's a tendency of the mind to find such things. You see, the mind is a very, very strong instrument, very, very strong. That's why the whole thing is put your mind on your swadharma, on your job. That's the philosophy because it can lead you haywire. I did mention Vishwamitra. Now these are great rishis. So yeah, the same thing. This verse is explaining the example given in the previous verse. So not to dwell on these material things because if you dwell too much, then the consequences are there. The desire will come, and what will come from the desire? Anger. When you don't get something, you get angry, you get frustrated. The mind is all the time fixed on these lower things. So make a decision and stick to it. Whatever is good for my health, my body, come what may, I will not touch it. So anybody else would like to say, add to the discussions? Mahendra ji,
I think in
अब तक जो भी
continuation is the
हुआ है.
Shloka 6. 61 is an important shloka. It is now discussing a person who has some. Now this self-control is very, very difficult if it is not impossible. We are connected to the external sense objects through our senses, through mind. And we need to take decision while interacting with the external world. And the choice.
सर आवाज कट रही है आपकी.
Sir, yeah, the voice is breaking, sir.
महेंद्र जी, आपकी आवाज कट रही है.
Even one says, yes. Am I audible?
And I think now it's better.
Uh,
Yeah, little, yeah.
Achha, there is some problems this morning in the net. In fact, I am unable to get you, the voice. Now, even one sense, weakness of one sense itself is to destroy. This have been given in the scriptures. A honeybee has got weakness of the smell. It goes to the flower, sits on the flower is closed.
Mahendra Bhai's bandwidth is very low. So maybe we are not able to catch up with him.
Yeah. I will call him and just try and inform that we are not able to hear him.
Okay.
So many things, even the single sense objects, if we indulge in, we are gone. The six senses, the five and the mind. Now we need control of all. Now the 61 is talking about the control of all. And those persons who have reached a control level, that means we have taken charge of the sense. That's what it's a difficult.
No, it's not picking up.
Okay. So, shall we go on to 2.63?
Yeah. In any case, that is a kind of pair. These two make a pair, no?
Yeah.
61.
Yeah. 62 and 63 are connected.
Yes.
Yeah. So, can you
Yeah.
please?
क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति.
Yeah. So it says, from anger arises delusion, from delusion, confusion of memory, from confusion of memory, loss of reason, one goes to complete ruin. So all the steps are given, how, very scientifically, how it happens. So the beginning is thinking about the sense objects. I think what Mahendra Bhai was, a little bit of what I heard was controlling all the senses, not one. It's a task. So, yeah. So loss of memory, loss of reason. Loss of reason is loss of discrimination. When you lose discrimination, then of course you're not a steady person. So the sequence is given, and this is how a man goes to ruin. But basically, the starting point is indulging the senses.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful sequence.
Yeah, it's a beautiful sequence.
So
So
because
the point is keeping the mind at a higher level.
true. Because like if it is not at a higher level, when it indulges with the sense objects,
Yeah,
then it is not able to get it, right? Then जब बाधा आती है उसके अंदर तो फिर naturally गुस्सा आता है कि मेरा क्यों नहीं है? जब कोई चीज के गुस्सा आता है, कोई चीज नहीं मिलती है, तो उसके प्रति एक्चुअली मोह बढ़ जाता है. See that which you are able to get, you after a while you are in fact you lose attraction to it. But जो चीज नहीं मिलती है वो क्या आप में चलती रहती है. तो इनफैक्ट जो चीज नहीं मिल पाती है वो उस पर प्रति मोह ज्यादा बढ़ जाता है. अपन देखते हैं, अरे मेरे को 1 लाख रुपए मिल जाए तो वो लगा रहेगा. जब मिल जाते हैं तो it's not such a big thing and you're not so thrilled about it. And यदि मोह होता है तो फिर उससे then you start to project a world of your own. You hanker for something and you're not able to see reality as it is. You are projecting कि वो चीज मुझे मिल गई है या कैसे मिले. So your so to say your the way you view or the way you perceive the world itself gets distorted, right? So when the input that goes to buddhi is not correct, then buddhi is not able to do its function well. So buddhi कैसे हो जाता है? और बुद्धि से नाज में अगर आप रीजन नहीं कर सकते तो फिर आप तो गए. So that's a beautiful sequence.
yeah. Right. So, Ashutosh sir, would you like to say anything on this?
But there is another kind of anger. For example, I was just looking at my anger about the people in that institution, educational institution. That anger is not coming from. It's a different kind of desire. Different kind of desire. It is desire, no doubt. But it is not that desire is not coming from sense objects. Maybe it is coming from ego. Why they are not doing this? They should behave the way I want them to behave.
True.
So it is a desire of a different kind.
Yeah.
So can we say that desire is rooted in sense objects?
So if you don't nip it in the bud, it just goes on out of proportion. So it's very important to recognize the importance of buddhi. It's very, very important to understand the sequence. When it starts, that's the time you have to nip it in the bud. Now the annoyance is starting. It can lead to abuse. It can even lead to physical violence. So if you don't nip it in the bud, if you don't use your discrimination at every step, then it can go out of proportion. So now the annoyance is there, but now you have to bring in the understanding that this is the way of the material world. This is going to happen. My life is in my control. I cannot control everything else. My right is to work. Karmaneva adhikaraste. Ma phaleshu kadachana. So we are going to go back to that. I have a right over my mind. I have a right over the work which I can do. I was approached for the donation. To that extent I obliged. I went to a friend, I asked. But now beyond that, I don't have the power. I don't have the right. I don't have the capacity. That's all his. That one power which rules. So again and again, we go back to that point of discrimination. Accept that higher power. This material world is only going to change, and everything anyway has come from him. So go back to the source. So when this kind of a repeated understanding comes, then the mind slowly comes to rest, and then all these things, the cycle stops. Okay.
And regardless of the source of desire, sir, whether it's directly the mind or whether it's through the senses, I mean, mind and senses are one. Regardless of the source of desire, desire brings trouble along with it. It'll take you all the way to Nash. So, as Ashish said, the key point is to check the desires by dwelling on a higher principle so that you know that desires are neither here nor there. And I think with practice of that, slowly, we are able to, let go of compulsive acting on the desires.
I would have loved to hear Mahendra Bhai's views, but unfortunately the voice is breaking. Okay. So we are carrying on with the next verse.
रागद्वेष वियुक्तैस्तु विषयान् इन्द्रियैश्चरन् आत्मवश्यैर्विधेयात्मा प्रसादम् अधिगच्छति.
Yeah. So he says, but the self-controlled sadhak, while enjoying the various objects through his senses, which are disciplined and free from likes and dislikes, attains placidity of mind. The word uses prasad. So this word prasad, I think we will discuss this. Does it have any meaning? The one who is free from these likes and dislikes, he enjoys whatever comes his way. If I get food to eat, good. If I don't get food to eat, good. If I get something to my liking, good. If I don't get it, I'm happy. So when a person is above all this, then what happens? Prasadam. What do we mean by this word prasadam? Any thoughts on this word?
So prasad, I think, means grace. Right? So it is, God Himself descending to some degree, or your evolution, or your sensitivity, or your awareness increasing about. I would think that's what prasad means.
Okay. So, Mahendra sir, what would you say on prasad? Okay. Ashutosh sir, आप क्या कहेंगे प्रसादम?
State where you are comfortable within yourself. So what Sunilji said, grace.
Grace. Okay.
That just being there, just being with yourself in that state, whatever state you are in, you are contented, peaceful, comfortable, and you don't want to move out of that state. That is prasadam or prasannata.
Okay. So basically this verse is telling you that you enjoy the material, you go on striving. You go on striving. Whatever comes your way, enjoy. Don't have desires. Go on living in this world. Do your duty. Don't have desires. And what will come about is prasad. Prasad is without any struggle. It just comes on its own. It's a gift. The grace which you said. It just comes. There is no struggle. There is no strain in the prasad. The strain is initially you do the work and that prasad will come. And what is this prasad? Peace. Stability of mind, peace. That stability of mind will come on its own. But you have to do your karma. You strive, you do the karma, and then whatever has to follow will come. Your mind is not in the prasad. When you go to the temple, your mind is not on the prasad. The prasad comes on its own. You may get it, you may not get it in some temples, but you simply go do your duty. And when it comes, it's going to be the highest. Jayakumarji, you wanted to say something?
Yes.
Please.
We cannot say all our desires. See, some are natural instincts. For example, if you are very hungry, you will forget, how much, if you are surrounded by people, as Ashutosh told before, someone ate a full plate of
Jalebi.
Jalebi. See, this is also happened to me. You know, so I'm a yoga teacher. Sometimes I forget this thing, and I do wrong things because this natural instinct is within me. I'm a human being. You know, I'm controlled by some other force, or which is nature, which is God, whatever it may be. So this, but for example, if I'm comparing to Sunilji and me, if some ideas can share, Sunilji can share with me, some ideas cannot because I cannot understand what he is telling. So uh, for all the people, they cannot control this natural instincts. So we say it is desire. So, I mean, highly intellectual or highly spiritual people say it is desires. It is actually not desires, they are natural instincts. We have to accept it. Because my foreign friend from Germany, she told me, the rapes in India is around 100,000 per year. What's happening? You have Bhagavad Gita, you have Vedas, these, that, all says you have to do the, it means you have to follow the virtues and the dharma, all these things. But what's happening? So she's telling, you are suppressing all the desires. This is my experience, that's just I'm sharing with you.
Yeah, true. Right. So desires should not be suppressed. I agree with you. We are going to learn about all this in chapter 3. But this point which you made of the biological instincts, food, and what do you have? Ahar, Nidra, Bhay, Methunya. These are the biological instincts. Very true. But you see, over and above, man has a mind. These instincts are going to be there. Over and above, you have a mind, you have an intellect. The discrimination part is all yours. You have a certain choice. At that moment, if you choose to exercise that discrimination, then you are godly. If not, then it's more like an animal instinct. Animals also have these 4 things. That instinct is there. But what is it that separates a human being from an animal? The buddhi, the intelligence. Now, if you don't want to use the instruments which you have, then what is to be said? There are people who are not using. That's the reason for the chaos in the world. But the people who are using, they are the ones which uphold the world.
Yeah, I understand.
Right? So we have a choice to some extent, to a great extent. We have these instincts. Yes, we need to eat, we need to do all these things in life. But to what extent? That line I have to draw. What differs me from an animal?
I think it may be used between needs and desires.
Well, we can go on about this. These again become intellectual discussions, needs, desires. It is a need, it is a desire. It's the same thing. I need the food. It is a desire also. Because if I don't give myself food, I'm going to go mad. Like at that point, I just need it. A want, a need, a want, a desire. Again, see, Jaykumarji is saying that I don't understand. But I understand I need food. I understand food. But that much I understand, should I overeat or should I not eat? Should I take it if I'm sitting in a group? If I'm sitting on the dining table in a family and there's one bowl of vegetable, am I supposed to finish the vegetable because I like it? Or am I supposed to see that it is distributed amongst everybody on the dining table? That much a human being would know.
Yes,
So
still you have desire to eat, but you are intellectually blocking your mind. This is what's happening there, right?
Sorry, can you please come again?
See, we are sitting with a group and we want more food. So there
Right.
is not food for
Enough.
plate. For example, is a very kind of food.
Right.
So we are intellectually blocking our mind. So if we eat all the vegetables, so all other people uh, cannot get enough food. So this is a intellectual, blocking of our mind, right?
Yeah, but that's right also, na? It's right also. If you're sitting in a small dining table with four people and there is in vegetable, there's one bowl of vegetable, it's right also that everybody gets enough. It would be selfish if I eat everything if I'm hungry. Everybody's hungry. Well, and then maybe I can take permission. I'm very hungry. Can I finish it?
Okay. Yeah, that's I understand.
Should I? Yeah, sorry.
Please.
Hanji.
Let me please go on.
So yeah, that's it. So Jayakumarji, is it okay? Did you
Yes,
get
yes.
the?
Yes, I'm completely
Yeah, so the
satisfied.
intellect has to be used. It has to be used. I have to understand and I have to do the right thing. And this right thing in these little incidents of life, see, we are not going to get technical into the Bhagavad Gita. How is it that we can apply in our day-to-day life at every level? I may be wherever I am, but I have certain knowledge or certain feelings in me, a certain intelligence that this is what I'm supposed to do. And if I purposely cloud that discrimination and I do something because I like to do it, it's going to be wrong and it is going to have the repercussions sooner or later. Karma spares nobody. We can indulge in how much ever we want.
Ashaji,
Yes.
what I gathered from your explanation is that I have a body, I have instincts, I have a mind, I have desires, but I also have buddhi.
Correct.
I have also have buddhi.
So, what are we talking about, sir? We are all the time talking about Sthita Prajna.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so shall we move on? Two point 65.
Yes. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirasyopajaayate prasanna chetaso yashu buddhi paryavatishthate.
Yeah. So, with the attainment of such placidity of mind, all his sorrows come to an end, and the intellect of such a person of a tranquil mind, soon withdrawing itself from all sides, becomes firmly established in God. Yeah, so that inner composure is prasad, and slowly, the result of controlling the senses, the result of controlling the mind will be this placidity of mind. In that placidity of mind, there is no sorrow. Then the external situation does not affect you. There is no sorrow even if there is sorrow. You take everything to be samatva, samatvam. Everything is fine. You accept everything as a prasad of God. When you go to the temple, you don't choose the prasad, do you? You take whatever comes. One day it can be something sweet, one day it can be something savory, something to your liking. It can be a fruit, it can be a khichdi, it can be anything. It can be a peda, a sweet, mithai, anything. Do you choose? No, you're happy with whatever comes your way. But then you have worked for this. At every step, you have worked. At every step, you have kept your discrimination alive. At every step, you've kept that thought that this material world is perishable, it's changing, it's never going to give me eternal happiness. I have to fix the mind on the eternal. That is going to give me happiness. It's always going to give me happiness because it's always there, it's eternal. So we are slowly coming to that conclusion. So, okay, Please, anybody,
Can I just supplement that?
please.
So very often we think that, you know, an external object or a possession gives us happiness. See, that is not true. It's an illusion. Because, say for example, you know, you ornaments, and then comes a. I'm not audible. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Can you please repeat what you said?
Okay. So, I was saying that this is very true. That actually speaking, you know, there is no happiness obtainable from the material world. Because, so suppose I'm saying we go to a wedding, we have very, you know, nice jewelry, a chain, and this and that, and we feel that that's the source of our happiness. Hey, you give it to me, right? Now at that time, do we hesitate? Do we say कि नहीं you आप मेरी जान ले लीजिए लेकिन आप मेरे को चेन रहने दीजिए? They say, hey, तुम लो. What is dearer to me is myself and not this. Right? So, little bit discrimination will actually tell us that objects are independent. Right? Always and always, any happiness that comes our way is when we are in touch with ourselves or our deeper self.
True. Very true. Yes. So, shall we go to 2.66? We have 10 minutes.
नास्ति बुद्धिर अयुक्तस्य न चायुक्तस्य भावना न चाभावयतः शान्तिर अशान्तस्य कुतः सुखम्.
So beautiful. He says, he who has not controlled his mind and senses can have no determinate intellect nor contemplation. Without contemplation, he can have no peace. And how can there be happiness for one lacking peace of mind? So no peace, no happiness. So it's the same thing which is again stressed. Sir, you want to say something, sir?
Now this word contemplation has come in. That is bhavana.
Yeah.
So there is buddhi and there is bhavana.
Yeah. So contemplation or bhavana would be contemplation, meditation, where your mind is fixed on the higher. You cannot fix your mind on a thing if you are distracted.
Yeah, but what it is also saying, perhaps, Ashaji, is that buddhi needs bhavana. That means only intellect is not enough. You have to use it for contemplation.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
You have to fix the intellect on something, right? Otherwise, how is it? It's going to be just moving here and there. The intellect has to be anchored in God.
Yeah.
When it is anchored in God, then the lower instruments, the mind, the senses, don't work. They are under the control of the intellect. The intellect is the one who is going to reflect the light of the consciousness. These are basically all instruments. You go on purifying them by controlling the senses, the mind. When the mind is steady, when the instrument is steady, then the light of the now, okay, this is all going to be the light of the consciousness and all, can be to a layman very intellectual terminology. But the thing is that we are talking about steadiness of mind. The senses and the mind, if they are not steady, if the mind goes on running, if there is no steadiness, there can't be any contemplation.
That is true. But the word yukta would mean that one who is practicing yoga.
Yeah.
Another way of looking at yukta is
True.
one who is practicing yoga.
Yeah. So he's saying
So
a
yoga here would mean, I mean, in this context, yoga is interpreted as control of mind and senses. Is that right?
Yeah. Yoga is interpreted as many things like union of body, of mind and soul, union of this instrument with the soul. So if there is no union, if there is no anchoring into the self, then there can't be any peace.
Yeah.
If the mind is always running, then there can't be any peace.
See, can I also add? So you see, intellect, buddhi, so it's the most potent kind of force that we have, and we often utilize buddhi in the external world. You know, or any situation that we meet, we take in data, process it, come to a conclusion, and carry out that conclusion. I mean that's वो बहुत gone एक उसका application है. It's like a hammer you're using for kind of a sledgehammer you're using for just hitting a nail. Real use of buddhi is to discriminate and realize that in the external world there is not much to be found, and therefore to draw the conclusion that the highest in life is to be sought or is to be found only internally. So when buddhi becomes a gateway to the inner self, right? That is, and I don't know if that maybe is being emphasized here.
Yeah. Basically, the one who's distracted cannot have any peace. To put it very simply.
Yeah. No, why I was saying this is because in our Indian languages, bhavana usually is taken to mean emotion. But here it is not used in that sense. Yeah. Here it is used in the sense of contemplation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the emotions finally have to be led to God.
Yeah.
The emotions, the thoughts, the feelings, the action. This is how the sequence is. You have a thought, then the corresponding feeling comes, and then there is an action. So all this has to be directed to only one. So when they are directed to that one, then there is peace.
Yeah.
God wants undivided attention. A little bit of distraction and it's over. So total submission, total surrender, no distraction whatsoever.
I think it is said perhaps somewhere in the Bible that the passage to the ultimate is very narrow. Only one can pass through it at a time.
Yeah.
Which is to say that, as you said, there's no room for distraction. Until you are, focused, understood, it will be difficult to go
वो
far.
आपके engage book में diagram है ना of the magnifying glass.
Yes. जी. Correct. हाँ, बिल्कुल. वो तो है ही है. In the mundane world also, we know that concentration is tremendously powerful.
But it has to be undivided.
The degree of concentration is in fact inversely proportional to the number of distractions. When the distractions are more, the concentration is less. When the distraction is less, it's more. When the concentration is complete, highest, and then the results that appear are the most superior.
Yeah. So what causes distraction? Senses. So we are again and again coming back to the same thing, that the senses have to be controlled. So we have only 4 minutes. I don't know if we should do the 3 minutes, whether we should do the next verse. But what I would like is that we observe ourselves. How much are we getting swayed by the senses? How much is the mind getting distracted? So maybe that could be a good homework for the week.
Mhm.
Homework again.
Sorry? Homework.
Would you kindly state the homework again?
Oh, okay. So the homework has to be control of the mind
Okay.
by fixing the mind on one thing,
Okay.
on God. So this homework is for all of us, for me also. So since we are on it, एक और भी होमवर्क था हमारे लिए. डॉक्टर साहब ने कहा था प्रभु में लीन होना. So I think maybe we could take that. प्रभु में लीन होना. Then we will understand why we are not getting lean in God. प्रभु में हम लीन क्यों नहीं हो रहे हैं? Once we start the process, then we'll understand what is it that is distracting us.
आशा जी, लेकिन अभी क्या है कि मेरी जो आजकल जो धारणा है प्रभु के बारे में, वो आदि शंकराचार्य जी को फॉलो करने की है. और वो ये कहते हैं कि जो हृदय में आत्म तत्व है वही प्रभु है.
That's fine.
हाँ.
Whatever is our concept of Prabhu, it is within, it is in the heart. Yeah, that's fine. Any one concept. We are not,
Yeah.
we're not saying do idol worship, pray to what I am praying.
Yeah.
Every individual is given the freedom to decide. Of course, it has to be within the limits of the bounds of dharma. Yeah, we have that choice within the heart. Perfect.
हृदयस्थ परमात्मा,
Yeah.
हृदयस्थ अंतरात्मा,
Yeah.
अंतर्यामी, जो भी आप कहेंगे.
Yes. Perfect.
Yeah.
So on that note, we can wind up the session for 15 minutes and then log on.
Right. In fact, sir, since we have just a few seconds, even in yoga, the concept of Prabhu Ishwar is what is called as Purusha, that which resides in the body, that is different from the. So it is not worship, or it is not material of any kind. It is basically that higher principle, which is higher than and different from, and the source also of all that we see around us through the senses. So whatever form, it is to dwell on that different principle.
Right. Sabir bhai is smiling. Sabir bhai was smiling just now. I don't know
In
why.
fact, this is really a treat for me. Every day, every Sunday morning, listening all this. So I have gone through it before, but we are having a different inclination, different angle to the same understanding. It's beautiful. I'm enjoying it. The homework, I'm really going to take it ahead, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.
Most of the
Alright.
time we end up